There's a lot of talk about the recent firing of the acting Attorney General. Justification being she wouldn't enforce or defend the president's executive orders on immigration and refugees. In response to those executive orders, uh, the former acting Attorney General, Sally Yates, uh, wrote a memorandum that I would like to respond to. So Sally Yates writes, on January 27th, the President signed an executive order regarding immigrants and refugees from certain Muslim-majority countries. Okay, right there. Right there. There's a red flag that signals that she's trying to push her own agenda. Okay, because if you read the actual executive order, nowhere in the executive order did Donald Trump ever mention the word Muslim or Islam. It's something that Sally Yates puts in on her own. Now let's read further. I am responsible for ensuring that the positions we take in court remain consistent with this institution's solemn obligation to always seek justice and stand for what is right. Okay, there's another red flag. What's right is relative. You see, what's right in someone's eyes may not be right in the other. And so how do we solve the discrepancy between what's right in someone's viewpoint versus what's right in someone else's viewpoint? Well, the way we do that is we have established rules and regulations, or laws, if you will, that we adhere to, and that makes it more objective, and it minimizes biases. Now, by using the term right, as in morally right, it suggests to me that Miss Yates wants to push her own biases into her official work, which is totally inappropriate. Now, reading on down a little bit further, it says, at present, I am not convinced that the defense of the executive order is consistent with these responsibilities, nor am I convinced that the executive order is lawful. The executive order is lawful. I'm going to read to you the actual text from the law that makes it legal. This is from the U.S. Code. Now, I've highlighted some key words to take note of. Suspension of entry or imposition of restrictions by President. Whenever the President finds that the entry of any aliens or of any class of aliens into the United States would be detrimental to the interests of the United States, he may by proclamation and for such period as he shall deem necessary, suspend the entry of all aliens or any class of aliens as immigrants or non-immigrants, or impose on the entry of aliens any restrictions he may deem to be appropriate. That's what the law says. Now I'm going to read you a passage of the executive order that seems to be the one in question of whether or not it's legal. So the executive order reads, I hereby proclaim that the entry of nationals of Syria as refugees is detrimental to the interests of the United States, and thus suspend any such entry until such time I have determined that sufficient changes have been made to the USRAP to ensure that admission of Syrian refugees is consistent with the national interest. So again, I've highlighted the key words that seem to mirror what the law says. So, there's really no debate about whether or not that part of the executive order is legal, as it almost copies the law. So, I mean, it's obvious that the executive order is legal. So the only reason why Miss Yates would not want to defend those regulations is because of a personal agenda. Now, there's a lot of people out there that say that Sally Yates was courageous, and they call her a hero. Thing is that she wasn't. Those are not traits of a hero. Those are traits of an activist. Now, there's nothing wrong with activists, but what she did was try to push her personal or political biases using her official capacity. And that's not courage. And as such, she should be removed from her official position. Swamp dweller? Meet Drain.